When domestic abuse occurs, many people ask, why does she stay? Others, they ask a different question.
Why did you do it?
Ooh. Wow. I've never thought of that question or the answer.
We were both in the same intramural after school kind of group called Peer Helpers.
I did this really embarrassing church lady impersonation, and she told me my zipper was down. I was jealous. I didn't like her hanging out with certain people or talking to guys. If we'd ever get into a fight, I would beat up my car.
As a teenager, you can kind of romanticize a lot of that, and you can say, oh, he loves me so much that he just doesn't even want me to, talk to anyone else. He just wants me all to himself. And you can romanticize that into thinking it's a good thing, and instead of seeing it for what it really is.
I would call her names.
He called me a bitch every day.
Several times a day.
For years.
And I punched the wall right beside her head.
The implied message when he hits a wall is, this could be you. That whole thing of wait till your dad gets home if they did something wrong meant something in our family that was very different. It meant they would be terrorized.
She had a job, a third shift job, and I wouldn't come home and take care of the kids. I'd make her do it after working all night and not getting any sleep. No one knew. No one had a clue that I was like this at home. I was the nice guy next door kind of thing.
Which then when he calls you crazy and tells you you're crazy and depressed, you begin to think, you know what, maybe I am doing something wrong because he is so nice to everyone else. What must I be doing to make him act that way? How horrible must I be for him to be like that? Several times through the years I tried to get a job and hide some money so that I could get out. Except he always managed to know how much money I should be bringing home and managed to find ways to spend it before I ever got a chance to hide any of it. And that feeling of not having anywhere to go except to be a burden on others is really, it weighs you down a lot, makes it really difficult to leave. We were at a point in our relationship where I was just done.
And we'd been arguing, and I could just tell by the way she came in the bedroom that something wasn't right. And I asked her if she wanted a divorce.
Yeah. He says, you want a divorce? I said, yeah, I do.
For the next half hour, I started to interrogate her and scream at her.
He accused me of cheating on him.
Who is he? What's his name? And accused her of having sex with a woman. Maybe it wasn't, maybe she wasn't into me anymore. It was a woman.
There doesn't have to be someone else for me not to want to be with you.
And as she got up to leave, I, in one step, went from here to about that chair and put my fist through the bedroom door.
And picked me up off the floor and threw me onto the bed.
Not just pushed her, I literally airborne threw her on the bed.
And he's yelling at me and I'm crying and I'm trying to get away and I can't. And he gets on top of me and says, maybe I'm not fucking you right. Maybe I'll do it right now.
And acted like I was going to rape her.
And he didn't. Somehow I got out from under him. I don't even know how I did. And I ran downstairs. I just got away from him as much as I could.
So after a few days and we actually were together, I said, listen, I really think you're depressed. I really think you're bipolar or something. You need to go and get some help.
And I didn't really believe him, but I thought, fine. He's probably right. I'm dealing with all of this stuff. I think I probably am depressed.
She sat down with a woman who probably talked to her for less than 5 minutes and realized I was the one that was being abusive.
this is not your problem. This is him, and I know this place, and he should go there.
April comes home, and she says to me,
you know what? It's not me. It's you. If you want to save this marriage, you go.
here's the number for advance. This woman says you need to go there.
He was trying really hard to discredit her so that he wouldn't have to call.
I was like, right, this woman probably hates men.
You know what? She said you'd say that.
I was like, well, she's probably gay. She's probably a lesbian.
She said you'd probably say that.
What really brought me to advance was to have them agree with me that April was crazy.
I told him I was trying to fix the relationship because I wanted him to get help. Because I knew that he was always going to have contact with our daughters, and I didn't want them to have someone like him for a role model of what relationships were supposed to be like.
During orientation, they showed a video of this guy from Duluth, Minnesota, who went through a similar program, talking about physically punching or headbutting his partner, making her nose bleed. I'm like, man, that guy is an asshole. And then he starts talking about, there were times where I would throw things around the room or break stuff and, call her all kinds of names. And I just went, whoa, I've done some of that. So if he's punching his partner or headbutting her and that's wrong and he's an asshole, I can't say that what he's doing there isn't wrong. So that must mean he's still an asshole for those actions. And that must mean, what am I?
It took quite some time for me to believe that he was really changing, that it was for real, because so many times I heard, I won't do it again, I'll be different. And it was hard to believe that he actually was. And so I tested him too. I would bring up topics like money or family or housework.
I would say the most difficult thing for me going through advance was early on, it was to drop her stuff. So it doesn't really matter what April does or doesn't do. I'm still in control of my own actions and my own reactions to whatever happens, whatever situation comes up. And listen to what April had to say. Listen to how my actions affected her. And some of that was really difficult. Some of it came at me with some anger in it. And I had to listen and take that as that's really how it is for her, not just, oh, you're trying to make this worse than what it is. Believe her.
So he kept going to advance, and I was seeing him changing.
After I was going through advance, she came to me. She's really upset. She's crying.
And I said, when you get home from work, we've got to talk. I got to talk to you about something.
And she's like, I have this $300 cell phone bill.
Is that it? It's just a cell phone bill. Like I thought you were telling me you were done. You were leaving me. It's just a cell phone bill. You figure this out. Don't worry. And I was so shocked because this would have been really ugly before.
I do really remember the feeling of connecting with how upset she was over it. I must have been horrible to live with if you're going to be crying like that because of a cell phone bill.
I thought you literally crawled around the hallways of the dorm rooms asking for donations. It was... Anyway, that's not what you do.
I heard honk.
I heard hog. Hog.
If I had a time machine and I could go back in time, the only thing I would want to do is change the way I treated people. Because I would have such a better life, so much better memories. My kids would have better memories. My wife would have better memories.
You're under the table.
I think people often talk about being married to their best friend, and I think it's pretty cool to actually be able to say that I am. I know he's embarrassed by what his behavior used to be like. He's not like that anymore. Can't imagine being that person anymore.
Those things that I did to April on that day and every day prior to that day in our relationship, those bells are still ringing and they still have consequences every day. Why did I do it? No one said that's not how you behave. That's not okay. No one I respected. April would say, don't do that again. And I do my few weeks or a couple of days of trying to straighten out. But because I didn't have somebody saying, hey, no, that's not how you should be in a relationship. That's not how you should treat somebody else that you say you care about.